Hello students, welcome to the class. So today we are going to discuss with the next chapter of ninth standard, that is matter around us pure? Okay, basically we know that matter is made up of what? It is made up of particles which are arranged in a certain way. Yes, in solids the particles are arranged very compactly, in liquids they are quite free, and particles of gases they are well separated and then can move freely move about, right? So we have seen with all the properties of solids, liquids, and gases. That is what students, what I explained is, yes, when I said about solids, liquids, and gases, I had told you it is based on what? It is based on physical classification. Yes, it is based on physical classification. I can write based on, okay, based on physical classification, matter is being classified into three states. That is solids, liquids, and gases. This is what we have seen in our previous class, correct? Here, what we are going to speak about is based on chemical classification. Based on chemical classification, how the matter is being classified. Okay. So, based on chemical classification, I can say, yes, when we talk about chemical composition or based on chemical classification, see, matter is basically classified in two terms, physical classification and chemical classification. We have discussed about physical classification, which involves what? Yes, let me be very specific here. So let us take it from here itself. So when I speak about matter, correct? It is classified in two ways. How it is classified? It is classified in two ways, that is based on physical classification and based on chemical classification, right? So let us take it here. This side, we are going to talk about how it is being classified as physical classification. And this side, I will say about how it is classified about chemical classification. Is that right? So here, we have physical classification, and here we have chemical classification, right? Okay, so let us take it here. Physical classification, and here we have chemical classification. So matter is classified on two bases, physical classification and chemical classification. Under physical classification, matter is divided into what? It is divided into three states, correct? It is divided into three states. We have studied it? Yes or no? Yes. So we will make a distinction here. Okay. So here we have discussed about solids, discussed about liquids, discussed about gases. Yes or no? So this is what? This is solids, this is liquids, and this is gases. Apart from that, two more states of matter exist, and they are what? One is plasma, the fourth state of matter, and another one is Bose-Einstein condensate. Okay, to be very specific, condensate. Okay, this is physical classification. Based on chemical classification, the matter is classified into two types. It is being classified into two types. Okay, so let us see what is it. So we have these two types of classifications. The two types of classifications here involve pure substances and mixtures, not impure substances. So based on the chemical classification, the matter is being divided. Yes, based on the chemical classification, it is being divided into two types, that is pure substances and mixtures. pure substances and mixtures. Okay, so let us start with the first one. So what do we mean by pure substances? Yes, as the name suggests, is it something which is pure and mixtures are something which are non-pure? They are not pure? No, it is not like that. We have some specific explanation for this. Pure substances means what? They are elements or compounds which are made up of only one kind of atoms or different atoms in fixed proportion. So how do I define pure substances? They are which are made up of only one kind of atoms or two or more atoms in fixed proportion. They are called what? Pure substances. Now, how to understand this? Let us take example. So if I say you, I have a piece of, say I have piece of iron metal. Okay. So this is iron metal. If I have a piece of iron, it will be made up of all atoms of iron only. Yes. Any matter, it is made up of minute particles, and those minute particles are called atoms. Okay. So it will be made up of all atoms of iron only. It will have all iron atoms only. Yes or no? Will it have anything different? So I'll say here, it is made up of only one kind of atoms. Correct? Only one kind of atoms. Instead of iron, you take a piece of gold metal. Yes, you take a piece of gold. Tell me, will it be made up of any other atoms? It will have all gold atoms only. Understanding? So these are what? Pure substances. Take one more example. Let me say I have taken a glass of water. Yes, let us say that you have brought a glass of water from your place. Everyone has bought a glass of water from their places. Water, what is the formula, chemical composition of water? It is H2O. That is, if you are calculating by atoms, it is 2 atoms of hydrogen is to 1 atom of oxygen. If you are calculating by mass, I'll tell you how to calculate. Mass of hydrogen is 1 into 2 atoms. Therefore, mass of hydrogen is 2. Mass of oxygen is 16. So take the simple whole number ratio, it comes out to 1:8. So 1:8 is the mass ratio. You take water from any part of the world, it will have 1:8 by mass or 2:1 by atoms. It is fixed. 2 atoms of hydrogen, 1 atom of oxygen only we have for water. For calcium carbonate, it is fixed, CaCO3. This formula doesn't change. You prepare it artificially or you have naturally. This will not change. Understanding? It will not change. Those substances are called what? They are called pure substances. So pure substances are those which are made up of only one kind of atoms, like here we have, or if they are made up of 2 or more different atoms also, they have fixed proportion. You say proportion, you say composition, anything. So they have fixed proportion. That doesn't change at any cost. Yes. So this is about pure substances. So examples we have seen. Now, can I separate these can I separate atoms of this iron? No, they cannot be separated. Or can I'll take water molecule and break it and say I have separated hydrogen and oxygen? No, not possible. So they cannot be broken by simple methods. Yes, they have to be broken by chemical or physical methods. Yes, you cannot have simple methods for it. You need chemical methods for separation of these pure substances. That too chemical also, not normal chemical like evaporation. You cannot do those things. So they cannot be broken down into simple chemical or physical methods. They need different methods for separation. Yes. So they have fixed composition. Yes, they have fixed composition. Example, simple example, carbon dioxide gas you all know about. It is made up of 1 atom of carbon and 2 atoms of oxygen, correct? 1:2 ratio. Yes or no? 2 atoms of oxygen. So it is a ratio by atoms. If you want to find by mass, carbon mass is 12, there is 1 atom, is 2. Oxygen mass is 16, 16 2s are 32. So 6 2s are 6, no, 6, 2 6 are 12, 2 1s are 2 6 are, 2 3s are 6, 2 8s are 16. So it is 3:8 by mass. So if you want to say ratio by mass, you have to do it like this. Take the atomic masses. Atoms, see how many atoms of each atom are there. And this composition remains the same. Whatever carbon dioxide is there in the entire world, its composition remains same. Such substances are called as what? They are called pure substances. What they are called as? They are called as pure substances. So pure substances are made up of only one kind of atoms or two or more different atoms in fixed composition. Yes, depending on this, the pure substances are further classified depending on the definition itself. Yes, depending on the definition itself, the pure substances are further classified. They are classified into two types. Yes, they are classified here. So pure substances are further classified into two types. So we'll see what are those two types. So I'll make a distinction first. Okay. So here we have what? We have pure substances. So first we will discuss about pure substances, then we'll go for the next type of classification. So pure substances, they are classified as elements and they are classified as compounds. They are classified as elements and compounds. So what are elements? Made up of only one kind of atoms. Made up of only one kind of atoms. You have example iron, gold, silver, copper, sodium, yes, carbon. These are all made up of only one type kind of atoms. What are compounds? Made up of two or more different atoms in fixed composition. Fixed composition. So chemical composition remains fixed, like water, then you have carbon dioxide, then you have methane. These are all examples. Yes, so I'll write here examples. I have examples of iron. Yes, let us take a different color to distinguish it out. So we have example of iron. We have example of gold. Yes, we have example of silver. Then we have hydrogen. Yes or no? Hydrogen. We have carbon. These are all examples of elements. Compounds, H2O, that is water. Then carbon dioxide gas. Then we have what else? Ammonia. Yes. So these are all what? These are all examples of compounds. So we have elements and compounds. So these elements, depending upon their properties, yes, depending upon their properties, they are being divided further. Yes. So depending upon their properties, how they are divided. Okay. Let me keep these examples as it is. Okay. So these are further divided into three types elements. Yes, depending upon their properties, the elements are further divided into three types. Okay, let me take it from here. And compounds, depending upon the origin, they are divided into two types. Okay. Okay, fine. So here, three types. 1, 2, and 3. And here we have two types. 1 and 2. Okay, so let us see what are those types now. Fine. So what are those types? Elements are further divided as metals, non-metals, and metalloids. Yes, depending upon their physical properties, elements are further divided into three types: metals, non-metals, and metalloids, whereas compounds are further divided as organic compounds and inorganic compounds. Inorganic compounds. Yes. So pure substances, We know that based on chemical classification, we have seen here. Yes, basically what we discussed. So matter based on physical classification, it is being divided, and chemical classification, it is being divided. So physical classification, solids, liquids, gases. Chemical classification, we have pure substances and mixtures, correct? Pure substances are those which are made up of only one kind of atoms or two or more atoms in a fixed composition, proportion. And here, pure substances are further divided into elements and compounds. They are divided as elements and compounds. Elements are what? How do you define elements? Elements are pure substances made up of. So how do we write definition for elements, right? You have understood. So elements are pure substances made up of only one kind of atoms, whereas compounds are made up of two or more different atoms in the fixed composition. Yes. So let us take elements in detail now. We have to discuss all of them. Yes. Elements. So how do you define elements? They are pure substances. First point. They are pure substances made up of only one kind of atoms. Only one kind of atoms. Yes, they are pure substances made up of only one kind of atoms. Say you take any element, they will have similar atoms. Gold will have gold atoms. Iron will have iron atoms. Silver will have silver atoms. Carbon will have carbon atoms. Yes, so they are made up of pure substances of only one kind of atoms. And here they are further classified into what? They are classified as metals, non-metals, and metalloids. Yes, metalloids are also called as semi-metals. Okay, they are also called as semi-metals. Yes, when we talk about elements, examples I can tell you. The examples for metals are, say, sodium. I'll write the names first. When I discuss about the symbols, I'll tell you. Then we have gold, it is a metal. We have iron, it is also metal. Silver we have, it is also metal. Copper we have, that is also metal. Aluminium we have, that is also metal. Yes, then we have for non-metals examples, carbon is a non-metal. Then nitrogen is a non-metal. Then we have oxygen. We've come across this. Then we have sulfur, it is non-metal. Examples for metalloids, we have silicon. Then we have germanium. Yes, these are examples for non-metals, metalloids, which are also called what? Which are also called as semi-metals, Okay, based on what properties they are being classified as metals, non-metals, and metalloids. When we talk about elements, they are made up of pure substances. Okay, they are pure substances made up of only one kind of atoms. So atom of iron will not have, all the atoms of a particular element will have all similar properties. So I can say atoms of an element all possess or all have similar physical and chemical properties. Okay, so properties will be same. For example, if I take two atoms of gold, both will have same physical and chemical properties because both are same, right? So atoms of an element, or you can say atoms of same element. Yes, an element or same element. If you take atoms of different elements will have different physical and chemical properties. So the properties will differ. Chemical properties. Is that right? So they will have different physical and chemical properties. So very important about elements. Atoms of same element all have same physical and chemical properties. Atoms of different elements will all have different physical and chemical properties. How to explain? If I take the atoms of iron, say this is one atom of iron. Usually we show atoms using spherical this symbol. If I say these two are the atoms of iron, yes. So if these are the atoms of iron, Okay, iron is represented symbolically as Fe. So this is also atom of iron. This is also atom of iron. They will have same size, correct? Same size. They will have same everything. Physical properties will be same. Chemical properties also will be same. So chemical properties also will be same. Understanding? So they will have similar physical and chemical properties. Since size is same, all the properties will be same. Similarly, if I take one atom of iron, say I have taken one atom of iron, and if I take one atom of sodium. So let me say this is atom of iron. Fe is the symbol for iron. Sodium, the symbol is Na. I'll just tell you when I speak about elements. Okay, further. Will the atoms have same size? No, the sizes are different. Sodium is big and iron is small, comparatively small. So when the sizes are different, they have different size. That means physical properties are different. Since the size are different, chemical behavior also changes. Yes, you will study in higher classes how chemical behavior changes. Understanding? So atoms of same element, they have same physical and chemical properties. Atoms of different elements, they have different physical and chemical properties. Yes, different physical and chemical properties. So when I speak about atoms, elements, basically, you should be knowing at least 20 elements. They are atomic numbers. Yes, you should be knowing their mass numbers. Not, if not mass number, you should be at least knowing the atomic numbers. Yes, I'll mention here. Then the name of the element. And it's a symbol. At least these things should be known to you. Yes, so I'll write here. This is the column for atomic number. This is the column for name of the element. And this is the column for symbol. You should be knowing all these things. Yes. So atomic number 1 is hydrogen. Its symbol is H. Atomic number 2 is helium. Its symbol is He. Atomic number 3, lithium. Its symbol is Li. Atomic number 4, beryllium. Its symbol is Be. Atomic number 5, boron. The symbol is B. Atomic number 6, carbon. Its symbol is C. Atomic number 7, nitrogen. Its symbol is N. Atomic number 8, oxygen. Its symbol is O. Atomic number 9 is fluorine. Its symbol is F. Atomic number 10, it is neon. Its symbol is Ne. Similarly, you have element 11, whose atomic number is, his name of the element is sodium. Its symbol is Na. You have element 12, whose name is magnesium, and its symbol is Mg. You have element 13, whose name is aluminium. Symbol is Al. Element 14, whose name is silicon. Symbol is Si. Element 15, whose name is phosphorus. Yes, phosphorus. Symbol is P. Element 16, whose name is sulfur. Symbol is S. Element 17, whose name is chlorine. Yes, symbol is Cl. Element 18, whose name is argon. Symbol is Ar. Element 19, whose name is potassium. Symbol is K. Element 20, whose name is calcium, and symbol is Ca. So these are all the names, the atomic numbers and symbols of first 20 elements. Symbols of first 20 elements. Yes, you should be knowing at least these. So these are all what? These are all elements. So out of them, if you see, I can show you hydrogen, it is studied separately. Helium is a noble gas. This is metal. Beryllium is metal. Boron is metal. Then sodium is metal. Magnesium is metal. Aluminium is metal. Then I have potassium is metal. Calcium is metal. Okay. Then I have helium here studied separately, neon studied separately, and argon studied separately. I'm indicating them with different colors. You can see the distinction there. Then we have carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine, non-metals. Here chlorine, sulfur are non-metals, and even phosphorus is a non-metal. And then here we have, where is it? Silicon. Then we have, yes, only silicon is there, which is a semi-metal, or you can call it as a metalloid. So these are all what? These are all the elements. So what they are made up of only one kind of atoms. If you have lithium, it will be made up of lithium atoms only. If you have carbon, it will be made up of carbon atoms only. Yes, if you have iron, it will be made up of iron atoms only. Iron 26, its atomic number is. Is that clear? So this is elements. Elements are further, as I said, they are divided into three types depending upon the physical properties. Metals, yes, non-metals, and we have metalloids, correct? So metals, what are the properties of metals? Metals, they are solids at room temperature. The first one is metals are usually solids at room temperature. Usually they are solids. And since they are solids at room temperature, yes, they are very hard and have high melting and boiling points. High melting and boiling points. Okay, so boiling points and melting points are high. Third important property, metals are lustrous. Lustrous means what? They have shiny surface. They have shiny surface. And they are sonorous. They are sonorous. Sonorous means what? They produce ringing sound. Yes, they produce what? Ringing sound. Okay. Next very important property, metals are malleable. Now, what do we mean by this malleability property? Yes, the property is called malleability, and metals are malleable, we say. What is malleability? If you take a block of metal, say iron metal, suppose I've taken this block. Now, if I hit this iron metal continuously, if I hammer, if I apply pressure, I can get this iron metal. If I apply pressure here, I can get this iron metal in the form of thin sheet. In the form of thin sheet. Yes, I can get it in the form of thin sheet. So this property of metals to get into thin sheets, yes, to get into thin sheets, it is called what? It is called malleability. What it is called as? It is called as malleability. Yes, the property is called malleability, and the metals what we see, they are what? They are malleable. They are malleable. Yes, so metals, they are malleable. Next important property. So what do we mean by malleable? They can be got into thin sheets on hitting, on continuous hitting or hammering. You can get them into thin sheets. That is the property of metals. Second important property of metal is they are ductile. Yes, they are ductile. Now, what do we mean by ductile? See, you take a piece of metal, you go on heating it and go on pulling it from both the ends. When you go on pulling it from both the ends, you will get a thin wire like metal. You can pull it into a long thin wire. Yes. So on heating, metals can be drawn into thin wires. And this property is called what? It is called ductility. The property is called ductility, and it is being possessed by what? It is being possessed by metals. Therefore, we say metals are ductile. What they are? They are ductile. Next important property is they are good conductors. conductors of heat and electricity. Heat and electricity. That means you take a rod of iron and heat it from at one end. When you heat it at one end, the other end also, after some time, the other end becomes hot. Yes, therefore we say conduction of. Suppose I have taken iron rod. Let me say I have taken an iron rod here. Yes, I am heating at this end. Say I am heating here. I am heating here. Yes, after some time, this part also becomes hot because heat is conducted through the iron. Or can I take that iron, some iron material and put it into the electric this? No, it will conduct electricity. Yes or no? That's the reason, since they are good conductors of heat and electricity, they are called as conductors. What they are called as? They are called as conductors. So these are what? These are the important properties of metals. Yes, they are the important properties of metals. And we have quoted the examples of metals. What are the examples of metals? It is sodium. Now I'll write the symbols. We have iron. We have gold, Au. Silver, we have Ag. Yes. Then I have calcium. These are all what? These are all metals. These are all examples of metals. Yes. So properties of metals. So they are solids at room temperature. All metals are solid. But there is one exception. The metal which is liquid at room temperature. One metal exists as liquid. All metals are solids. But the metal which exists as liquid at room temperature is mercury. What it is? Mercury. It is represented as Hg symbol. Okay. Metals are hard and have high melting and boiling points. But few metals are soft. Exception I'm saying. The soft metals are sodium and potassium. They are so soft that you can even cut them with a knife. You can even cut them with a knife. Yes, so this is exception. With red ink, what I'm writing are exceptions. Metals are lustrous, have shiny surface, and they are sonorous. They produce ringing sound. So only metals are used in temple bells and all, right? Metals are malleable. The most malleable metal. Yeah. Yes, if we talk about most malleable metal, most malleable metal is gold. It is gold and silver. The symbol for gold is Au. The symbol for silver is Ag. Okay. And metals are ductile. The most ductile metal, which can be drawn into thin wires, the most ductile metal is also gold. Yes, it is also gold. Yes, if you take just 1 gram of gold, you can pull it to 5 kilometers. So much long wire you can make. That is the speciality. Metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. The best conductors of heat. Which metal is best conductor? Usually we use copper, right? But the best conductor of heat and electricity is silver. It is silver. Silver is the best conductor. Understood? So this is all about the characteristics, or you can say physical properties of metals. Physical properties of metals. Coming to the next one, that is non-metals. Yes, non-metals. So what about non-metals? Non-metals are existing as solids as well as gases. So for solids, you have examples, say carbon. Yes, then you have sulfur. These are all solids. And for gases, you have example nitrogen, then oxygen, then fluorine. These are all gases. Yes, okay. But the only non-metal which is liquid at room temperature. Liquid at room temperature. Yes, the non-metal which is liquid at room temperature is, it is bromine, or you can call it as bromine. Exception. Okay, which is liquid at room temperature. Second important point, they have low melting and boiling points. Moreover, they are non-lustrous. They are non-lustrous and they are non-sonorous. That means they do not have shiny surface, nor they produce ringing sound. Yes, they are neither malleable nor ductile. They are neither malleable nor ductile. Instead, the property of non-metals is that they are brittle. Yes. Now, what do we mean by brittle nature? Yes, brittle means when you hit them or hammer, yes, non-metals, what happens? The non-metals break into pieces and then into powder and then become powder on applying external pressure. Yes, they become powder. That is the nature of non-metals. Example, coal you take. Coal, yes, it is a carbon compound. Yes. What happens when you hit it? Will it become thin sheet? No. Will it become long wire? No. Instead, it breaks into pieces and then becomes powder. That nature is called brittle nature. They are neither good conductors of heat nor good conductors of electricity. Yes, they do not conduct heat nor they conduct electricity. That's the reason these non-metals, they are called what? They are called insulators. They are called as insulators. They do not conduct heat nor they conduct electricity. But the non-metal which conducts heat, yes, non-metal exception I'm speaking, which conducts heat, the only non-metal which conducts electricity. Yes, it is nothing but graphite. Graphite is what? It is form of carbon. Yes, carbon is a non-metal and it conducts electricity. Yes, that is the only, what you say, that is the only exception. Yes, so this is all about the properties of non-metals. Examples, you have carbon, you have nitrogen, you have sulfur, you have fluorine, you have chlorine. Yes, chlorine. These are all examples. Carbon symbol N, C, nitrogen as N, sulfur S, chlorine Cl. So these are all what? These are all non-metals. Yes. So these are the properties of non-metals. Correct? Properties of non-metals. Is that understood? Okay. So these non-metals we have understood. Coming to metalloids. What are metalloids? Metalloids, you can call them metalloids or you can call them semi-metals. Right? So what are metalloids or semi-metals? Yes, I cannot sit quoting the properties. Metalloids or semi-metals are those which have properties or which exhibit properties of both, or you can say between metals and non-metals. Yes, I can give you example. Here, best examples are silicon. There are very few. Yes, silicon we have. Then we have germanium. Then we have arsenic. Then we have antimony. Yes, then we have polonium. We have examples like silicon Si, germanium is Ge, arsenic is As, antimony is Sp. So these are the examples for metalloids. What properties between metals and non-metals? If you take example of silicon, what is the property of metal? Property of metal says that it conducts electricity. Silicon does not conduct electricity. Does not conduct electricity under normal conditions. Under normal conditions. Okay. Therefore, it behaves how? It behaves as insulators. Yes or no? And insulators is what? It is property of what? Insulators. It is the property of non-metals. So it shows property of non-metals, correct? But if you heat silicon on heating, Yes, if you heat silicon, it conducts electricity. So I can say it conducts electricity on heating. So when it conducts electricity on heating, it behaves how? It is said to be conductor. Yes, it is said to be conductors. It comes under conductors. And conductors is what? Conductors is nothing but it is the property of what? Of metals. Yes or no? So it shows both properties of metals and non-metals. Therefore, I do not call metalloids as conductors nor nor conductors nor insulators. I call them as semiconductors. What do we call them as? We call them as semiconductors. They have properties of both metals as well as non-metals. We call them as semiconductors. Is that right? So this is all about metals, non-metals, and metalloids. So if you see, basically, if you speak about the elements all together till now, we know around 118 elements. 118 elements are known. Out of which, yes, out of which we can say, I can say like this. So here I can say out of these elements, most of them are naturally occurring. Naturally occurring. That is, they are present in nature itself. And some are artificially prepared. Artificially prepared. Yes, we even have the number. We even have the number actually. If you see out of 118, around, let me say here, actual number, yes, 92 elements are naturally occurring. They are naturally occurring. 92 elements are naturally occurring, and remaining 26 elements, they are artificially prepared. Artificially means what? They are man-made in laboratories. Yes, they are man-made in laboratories. And if you look at this elements, we know metals, non-metals, and metalloids, right? Maximum are metals. Maximum are metals. Yes. Some are non-metals. Some are non-metals. And very few, hardly 5 or 6, very few are metalloids. Very few are metalloids. Hardly countable. They are metalloids. Is that understood? Yes. Correct. So this is about elements. So 118 elements, and we know what are elements. Made up of only one kind of atoms. Most of them are naturally occurring. They are present in the nature itself. Yes, you have, for example, sodium. They are present in combined state. Okay, iron we have gold, we have silver, we have so many metals. They are naturally occurring, and some are artificially prepared. Like for example, you can synthesize thorium into the laboratory. Neptunium is prepared, and they have been given the names of the scientists. They are a respective scientist itself who has discovered it. Their names are being given. So if you see, out of 118 elements, 92 elements are naturally occurring. They are present in the nature itself. And 26 elements, they are artificially prepared into the laboratories. They are artificially prepared into the laboratories. And out of these 118 elements, maximum are metals. So when I say maximum are metals, can I say maximum are solids only? Because we know that almost all metals are solids. Yes. So here I can make a point, only metal which is liquid at room temperature, which is the only metal which is liquid at room temperature, it is mercury. Correct? It is mercury. Then only non-metal which is liquid at room temperature. Non-metals exist in solids, they exist in gases also. Okay. The only non-metal which is liquid at room temperature is what? Bromine. It is bromine. Sometimes there is one metal which is liquid on heating. which becomes liquid on in summer, you can say, in summer, and that is gallium. Okay, sometimes it is also given. Then only metals which are soft, metals which are soft. Actually metals are hard, but the metals which are soft, so soft that they can even be cut with a knife, which are those? Sodium and potassium. Sodium and potassium. Then non-metal which conducts electricity. Non-metal which conducts electricity, which is the non-metals do not conduct electricity. They are poor conductors of electricity. That's the reason they are called insulators, right? But the non-metal which conducts electricity is what? Graphite, which is a form of carbon only. Yes. Then most malleable metal. Most malleable metals are malleable. In that, the most malleable metal is which one? The most malleable metal is gold. Correct. Most ductile. Most ductile metal is what? It is also gold. Best conductor of electricity. Best conductor of electricity is what? It is gold and silver. Actually, it is silver, both gold and silver. So this is all about what? This is all about the metals and non-metals and metalloids. That is nothing but our elements. Yes. So what all we discussed till now? We have discussed here. Very important. Yes, matter based, it is classified into two types based on physical classification and chemical classification. Physical classification, in the last topic itself we have seen, we have solids, liquids and gases, right? Solids, liquids and gases. So solids, liquids and gases, we know the properties of them also. Solids have definite shape and definite mass and volume. Liquids do not have definite shape, but they have definite volume. Gases neither have definite shape nor definite volume. And other two states of matter include plasma and Bose-Einstein condensate, BEC. Okay. In this topic, what we are going to discuss is based on chemical classification, correct? Based on chemical classification. So I'll write it here properly. So based on chemical classification, matter is classified into two types. That is pure substances and mixtures. Yes, pure substances and mixtures. So what are pure substances? Are those which are made up of only one kind of atoms, only one kind of atoms, or even if they are made up of two or more kind of atoms, they are in a fixed composition, fixed proportion. Only one kind of atoms, take atoms of gold. Gold element you take, pure substances, it will have gold atoms only. Iron you take, it will have iron atoms only. Silver you take, it will have silver atoms only. Correct? And if they are made up of two or more different atoms, say H2O, their composition is fixed. 2:1 by atoms. Ratio doesn't change. You take any water, you take water from the purifier, you take water from the river, you take water from the sea, you take water from the ocean, it will still have composition H2O, 2 atoms of hydrogen and 1 atom of oxygen. This is by atoms. By mass, 2:16, that is 1:8. 1:8 by mass. Similarly, calcium carbonate, carbon dioxide, we have HCl, hydrochloric acid, we have H2SO4. See, it has got what all? It has got 2 atoms of hydrogen, 1 atom of sulfur, 4 atoms of oxygen. Correct? It's HCl, hydrochloric acid, 1 atom of hydrogen and 1 atom of chlorine. NH3, 1 atom of nitrogen and 3 atoms of hydrogen. Is that right? So this is about pure substances. Based on this definition only, the pure substances are classified into two types, that is elements and compounds. So what are elements? They are made up of only one kind of atoms. Example, iron, gold, silver, hydrogen, carbon, and so on. Compounds, they are made up of two or more different atoms in the fixed composition, and I've taken the examples. Elements are further classified into two types, metals, non-metals, and three types, metals, non-metals, and metalloids. On what concept? Based on physical properties. Based on physical properties, the metals, the elements are classified into three types. Altogether, how many elements are there? 118, out of which 92 are present in our nature and remaining 26 are artificially prepared, artificially synthesized. Correct? Where? In the laboratories. In the laboratories. Correct? So metals, non-metals, and metalloids. Compounds, they are made up of two or more different atoms. We'll discuss about compounds in the fixed composition. So these compounds are further divided into two types, organic compounds and inorganic compounds. So what are elements? They are pure substances made up of only one kind of atoms. Examples, metals, non-metals, and metalloids, or they are also called as semi-metals. And I have taken few of the examples. If you take atoms of same element, all have similar physical and chemical properties. Yes, if you take atoms of different elements, they will have different physical and chemical properties because they are of different elements, right? Then examples of the elements, I have taken around 20. By 9th standard, you should know at least first 20 elements, their names and the symbols. This is the atomic number, Z we represent it as. So atomic number 1 is hydrogen, symbol is H. Like that, you should be knowing all the elements. Helium, second one, He. Lithium, third one, lithium, Li. 4 atomic number, beryllium, Be. 5 atomic number, boron, B. 6 atomic number, carbon, C. 7 atomic number, nitrogen, N. 8 atomic number, oxygen, O. 9 atomic number, fluorine, F. 10 atomic number, neon, Ne. 11 sodium, Na. 12 magnesium, Mg. 13 aluminium, Al. 14 silicon, Si. 15 phosphorus, Fe. 16 sulfur, S. 17 chlorine, Cl. 18 argon, Ar. 19 potassium, K. 20 calcium, Ca. Like that, we have 118 elements. 118 elements. Like 21, we have scandium, titanium, vanadium, chromium, manganese, iron, cobalt, nickel, copper, zinc, gold, silver, sulfur, all these elements. Yes, these are all what? These are all elements, out of which hydrogen we have studied separately. Helium, neon, argon, which are orange colored, they are called noble gases. Yes, the one which have ticked with the, let me write here, orange color, they are called what? Noble gases. You will study in detail in your next year classes. Noble gases, they are called noble gases. The one which I have ticked with pink color, yes, which I have ticked with pink color, what they are? They are metals. They are metals. The one which I have ticked with green color, they are what? They are non-metals. They are non-metals. And the one which I have ticked with orange color, it is what? It is metalloid. Your example is our silicon, metalloid. Yes. Yes, it is a metalloid. Is that right? Apart from this silicon, we have germanium, arsenic, antimony, tellurium, so many. Only few are there, hardly countable. 5 to 6 are metalloids. That's it. Maximum are what? Maximum are metals. Some are non-metals. Yes. And very few countable, 5 to 6 are what? Metalloids. Are metalloids. Is that right? Yes. Okay, then metals, solids at room temperature. The only metal which is liquid at room temperature is mercury. They are hard and have high melting and boiling points, but the soft metals are sodium and potassium. See, sodium and potassium, they are so reactive that you cannot keep them open in air or you cannot keep them in water. Always sodium and potassium, they are stored under kerosene. Because only under kerosene they do not react. Otherwise, if you take it out, it will blast. Vigorously, it will blast. Or if you put a little water also, forget about water, droplets of water also, if it touches sodium, they will blast and fire comes out of it. Yes, that's the reason they bury very vigorously. Therefore, sodium and potassium, since they are highly reactive, they are stored under kerosene. Okay, lustrous, have shiny surface, but this shiny surface goes after some time because the metals react with the oxygen present in the air and form oxides, layer of oxides. That layer makes it not look shiny, but they are basically lustrous and they are sonorous. They produce ringing sound. So since they are lustrous only, since they have shiny surface only, they are used in jewelries, right? They are used in jewelries. Which are the metals which are used in jewelries? Gold, silver, platinum are used. There are two reasons why we use these in jewelries. One is they have shiny surface, that is lustrous. Another one is, like as I said, potassium and all, they react with air and water. No, these metals, gold, silver, platinum, they do not get attacked with air or water, with the atmosphere. Understanding? So they are, all the jewelries are being prepared from gold, silver, copper, yes, and platinum. Being sonorous, they produce ringing sound. Therefore, temple bells and all are made up of metals only. Malleable, when you hit them, when you hammer them, you get them into thin sheets. This property is called what? It is called malleability. It is called malleability, right? And most malleable is what? Gold, silver. Gold symbol is AU, silver symbol is AG. Ductile, on heating, metals can be drawn into thin wires. That property is called ductility. And the most ductile metal is gold. Gold, if you just take, it's not 2 grams also, hardly 1 gram of gold, you can pull it into 5 kilometers or something as such. Yes, and metals are good conductors of heat and electricity. You can say best conductors of heat and electricity. And the examples here, therefore they are called as conductors. And the best conductor of electricity is silver. Rather, we use copper because silver is much costly, which is used in ornamental purposes, right? So it is copper. And we have seen of non-metals, solids as well as gases. But the non-metal which is liquid at room temperature is bromine. They are neither lustrous nor sonorous. They are neither, but one non-metal is lustrous, non-metal which is lustrous. It is diamond. Yes, which is also a form of carbon only. But this diamond, or pure diamond, is not lustrous. When you perfectly cut it out, it will have shiny surface due to those cuts. Okay. It is neither malleable nor ductile. Instead, it is brittle. That means when you hit or hammer, non-metals break into pieces and thus become powder. Neither they are good conductors of heat nor good conductors of electricity. Therefore, they are called insulators. The non-metal which conducts electricity is graphite. It is a form of carbon again. Examples we have seen. And metalloids, which exhibit properties of both metals and non-metals. They are called metalloids. Silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony, and one more example is tellurium. Te. These are only non-metal. These are only metalloids or semi-metals. And they are insulators under normal conditions. They are conductors on heating. Therefore, they are called what? They are called semiconductors. They are called semiconductors. So 118 elements, most of them are naturally occurring, some are artificially prepared. 92 naturally occurring and 26 are artificially prepared. Maximum are metals, some are non-metals, and very few are metalloids. Yes, so this is all about what? This is all about the classification of matter. So you can see pure substances, mixtures. We do not call them impure substance. Okay, so elements cannot be broken into simple substances, have fixed composition, can be broken into elements by chemical or electrochemical reactions. Copper, oxygen, hydrogen, water, sugar, salt, etc. are compounds. Yes, we'll discuss elements which cannot be split into 2 or more simple substances. Metals, malleable, ductile, good conductors of heat and electricity. Metalloids show some properties of metals and some of non-metals. Silicon, arsenic, boron is still a question. It is a non-metal actually. Non-metals, non-malleable, non-ductile. Instead, they are brittle, bad conductors of heat and electricity. Yes, for this we will stop here. Compounds and the remaining part of that is mixtures we will take up in the next class. Hope you have followed all the concepts very well. Please do practice the concepts. Yes, if you practice whatever I have explained, it becomes easy. So you can see here differences between metals and non-metals. Solids at room temperature except mercury, which is liquid at room temperature. Generally hard and strong, but sodium and potassium are soft solids and can be cut with knife. Gases or solids at room temperature except bromine, which is liquid. Good conductors of heat and electricity. Copper is the best conductor of electricity, followed by gold and aluminum. First comes silver. Bad conductors of heat and electricity. They have luster and that is they have ability to shine and reflect light. Therefore, they are lustrous. They are not lustrous except iodine and graphite. Property by virtue of which metals can be beaten into thin sheets is called malleability. Yes, example, aluminum foil is being used to pack the food. That is also malleable. Property by which metals can be drawn into wires is called ductility. Metals like copper, silver, gold, aluminum can be drawn into wires. Non-metals, neither malleable nor ductile, they are brittle. As that, they are neither malleable nor ductile. Sonorous, they produce ringing sound, they are non-sonorous. So with the exception of sodium, potassium, and mercury, most of the metals have high meltings and boiling points, whereas non-metals have low melting and boiling points. Metals have high densities. Most metals have high tensile strength, inner strength, whereas non-metals have low densities. Yes. So this is the differences between metals and non-metals. Hope you have followed whatever is being explained. Yes, I hope you have understood everything. Next class, we'll discuss about the further part of the topic. For now, thank you.